What's going on, investors? Today we're going to be taking a look at this growth stock that has made a lot of investors rich in more ways than just one with just the slide of a card. We're going to be talking about Square stock, whose CEO is Jack Dorsey. If that name sounds familiar to you, he's actually also the founder and CEO of Twitter. Yeah, being the leader of two giant companies is probably the reason why he looks like he's been hiding in a dungeon as of recent. So guys, don't be a square, be a circle. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and let's talk about this great financial company. Square was founded all the way back in 2009, and it's currently headquartered in San Francisco. They're aiming to provide small businesses with portable card readers so that they could accept debit and credit cards. If you're a small business owner, accepting cards can trigger fees, which eat into already small profit margins. If you accept only cash, you risk customers being turned off, aka me, because I absolutely hate when places don't accept card. Here comes Square to the rescue, basically making small portable card readers that resemble a square, hence the origin of the name, that can be easily plugged into an iPhone or tablet, making them a makeshift cash register or point of sales device. I've personally noticed these in many family-owned businesses or more hipster-looking places. In fact, the inspiration to do this video was me buying Mediterranean food and noticing the family-run business used Square as the point of sales device. But Square is no longer just for small businesses. In fact, this past quarter, 61% of their payment volume was from businesses generating more than $125,000 a year. Square has seen their gross payment volume climb from $6.5 billion in 2012 to $106 billion in 2019. That's an amazing compound annual growth rate of 49%. While the point of sales chip is great, another component to Square's business is the peer-to-peer platform Cash App, which in the past 3 years has went from just 7 million active users to now over 30 million. Cash App is great if you're just trying to split a dinner bill with friends or family or paying your landlord rent. Think about how easy it is for Cash App to spread via word of mouth. That's actually how I heard about it for the first time. It also provides a receipt and safe delivery of payment. Cash App had a gross profit of just under $500 million last year compared to just $5 million in 2016. Cash App can also be used for investing purposes and buying Bitcoin. Speaking of Bitcoin, in October 2020, Square invested $50 million into Bitcoin because they plan on holding it for the long term and are watching its price just continue to go up just like it did in 2017. Square is testing a short-term borrowing feature in Cash App of loans under $200. Users basically have to pay back the loan in 4 weeks with interest. Square seems to be building its own ecosystem, similar to Apple, where so many things run on Square's payments, from their hardware to customer loyalty programs, analytics, payroll, future banking that they plan on launching. Square certainly has no plans of stopping, and they didn't just stop there, as they've also opened their doors to merchants to give them small customizable business loans, which they can track analytical data from their chips to see if they even qualify for the loan. Sellers can now manage orders, inventory, locations, employees, engage with customers and grow their sales, as well as gain access to those business loans. Square feels that they're empowering small businesses with the technology and tools needed to start, run, and grow. They really are helping merchants who otherwise may have been overlooked by traditional banks. As 85% of Square's sellers live outside the most popular US cities, Square is reportedly taking a look at acquiring Credit Karma's tax preparation businesses. This would allow for them to be doing tax forms, managing payroll, taking care of those employee benefits. This is like a small business's dream. Square is currently looking at how closely they can provide tax preparation support for its merchants for a fee, of course. Small businesses spend countless hours and lots of money taking care of state and federal taxes. There's definitely an opportunity to make this a much more efficient process. You know what else is also super efficient? You hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel as these videos take a lot of time for me to prepare and YouTube won't show them to other people unless you show some engagement. So Square Capital has received FDIC approval to launch a bank charter requiring them to start a bank within 12 months. Square Financial Services will launch in 2021, making small business loans to merchants that use Square payment devices. Square also sells a lot of these loans, so they're not exactly taking on a full risk. You would think that 2020 has been a down year for Square, given the C-19 and businesses being forced to not even be able to operate because of lockdowns. But Square blew its latest earnings report out of the water, and the street expected just 0.16 earnings per share, but Square more than doubled that at 0.34. For the year, their revenue is up 6.3 billion compared to just 3.4 billion last year. This is largely based on how much money they've made from Bitcoin revenue though, something that I don't think should be banked on for future earnings. But transaction-based revenue was still higher despite all the lockdowns. I imagine that number is going to be going up considerably once we live in the world where C-19 no longer affects us as much as it does today. In terms of its balance sheet, Square has $3.3 billion in cash and cash equivalents, which should more than take care of its $1.7 billion in long-term debt. I hope if there's one thing that you take away from this video, it's that Square is much more than a point-of-sales company as I originally thought. They are slowly building an ecosystem. Notice how once you use maybe one of Square's products or features, it's suddenly much more convenient to keep using their other services. It reminds me so much of Apple, where all of their products and services go together. Square has the opportunity to be there for businesses at every step of the way, from point of sales, capital loans, business-to-business payments, tax preparation, inventory, payroll, analytics, and so much more potential and opportunity for Square and its small businesses. Square has considerably less customer acquisition costs than, say, a big bank because the customer is already drawn in from other features. Just like many may have underestimated Tesla because they kept thinking of it as just a car company, many may be overlooking Square because they think it's just a point-of-sale company. ARK Invest has many shares of Square. It's actually one of their top holdings. I mean, if someone as smart as Cathie Woods is super bullish on Square, that's definitely good enough for me. However, this doesn't mean that Square doesn't face tough competition in the growing, super popular fintech industry with PayPal, Venmo, and I personally think that Venmo is actually much easier to use than Cash App. There's also the big dogs in MasterCard and Visa, and even JP Morgan unveiled their own point-of-sales chip. Also, others are slowly starting to find out that secret sauce paper trail that Square has left, as the stock price has absolutely ballooned. This company now has an $88 billion market cap and has just one profitable earnings in its entire history. With a 423 PE ratio, I think Square will continue to grow, but I'm going to be buying it at a better price. Perhaps the stock will plummet with more lockdowns like it did in March, offering a great buying opportunity. I have actually owned Square for almost 3 years in my M1 Finance portfolio, but the amount of equity is so small it's hardly worth mentioning, but I do have over an 80% return. I guess this just proves why buy, stash, collect cash, that strategy is so effective. Jack Dorsey may be doing some questionable selective censoring and so-called fact-checking on Twitter, but he seems to be doing all the right things with his other company, Square. Anyway, I want to hear what you guys have to say about Square. Is this a brilliant company with giant returns on the horizon, or is this a bubble that's ready to pop for Jack's second biggest public company? As always, guys, be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment. It really does help this channel grow. Let me know what other stocks you would like me to review, maybe even show my portfolio again, give an update on that. And be sure to follow me on Instagram and shoot me a message there as well.